Welcome, Age of Vintage Society. Adam West became a TV legend for his camped-up portrayal of the hero in the 60s. He hated being typecast as Batman, but he loved the attention of being a sex symbol during the sexual revolution of the 1960s. But behind the mask was a sex-mad actor who slept with up to 8 women a night. How could Adam West sleep with 8 women a night? Make sure to watch the video until the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you are new here, join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Age of Vintage channel. Batman legend Adam West led a secret life. Adam West is most familiar for his role as the superhero Batman. A hit at the time and still a cult favourite, the show revitalised the Batman franchise in the 1960s. According to West, it was his dream role too. He had always been a fan of Batman as it combined the aspects of detective work with a superhero. Despite being typecast, Adam West has continued to be a familiar actor in drama and comedy. He is also known for lending his voice to many animated series. The tall, well-built West, with chiselled good looks and a resonant baritone voice, was perfect casting for the upright all-American millionaire Bruce Wayne, who lives with his ward Dick Grayson in Wayne Manor. They secretly double as the masked Batman and Robin when called on the bat phone by Commissioner Gordon to catch a villain loose in Gotham City. Batman is, without a doubt, one of the most popular and well-known superheroes of all time. Whether we're talking about DC, Marvel or anything in between, of course that might have something to do with how long he's been around and how much time he's gotten on the big screen. Many actors have portrayed the Caped Crusader, but one of the most old school is undoubtedly Adam West. The stars and show business folks that had the pleasure of working with Adam all said the same thing, that it was actually a true pleasure to work with him. His specific brand of comedy was so special, no one could make people laugh quite like Adam could. Batman was a popular fixture on television during the mid to late 1960s. Adam West played the Caped Crusader and Burt Ward was his sidekick Robin, the Boy Wonder. The series mixed campy humour with a sitcom vibe and was a good example of the pop art aesthetic of the 1960s. The sets were filled with bright colours and the villains were even more colourful, and most of the time they were played by huge stars of the day. The series ran for 3 memorable seasons before a dip in ratings led to its cancellation by ABC in 1969. It is still remembered today as one of the most distinctive and unique television shows of its time, and introduced a host of crazy characters into our homes. Even Batman had his secrets. Juicy details of the extravagant life of the late Hollywood legend Adam West have been revealed. His interest and inclination towards acting and television reflected from his school years itself. He has had a long career of 6 decades. Although he appeared in scores of films and television series throughout his long career, most reviewers, whatever the role, insisted on referring to him as TV's Batman. However, it is fair to say that West, realizing that he owed his fame to the Caped Crusader, was not averse to making oblique allusions to the character in some of his films, and often resorted to self-mockery. However, due to his exceptional talent, he sprang back with other featured films. West did not have the best childhood as he had witnessed his parents' separation when he was a kid. He was to a certain extent influenced by his mother. West, like his mother, was also an alcoholic, but gave up on it in 1970. Both of them suffered from depression too. Adam West was born to Otto West Anderson and Audrey Vere Spear in Walla Walla, Washington. However, West's paternal grandparents were of Swedish origin. He attended both Walla Walla High School and Whitman College before finding his way into Hollywood. During his last year of college, he married Billie Lou Yeager. After graduating from college and service in the army, West spent years working on the fringes of the entertainment industry. After his army discharge, Adam moved to Hawaii with a college friend, and he worked as an island tour guide. While he was there, a Hollywood producer was on vacation and saw the very handsome young Adam in one of his community theatre plays. That chance encounter launched his whole career. One of his first co-stars was a chimp. When Adam moved to Hawaii, he eventually got a job starring on the Kini Popo show alongside a chimp named Peaches. That's a heck of a co-star for a beginner to have. In 1956, West got a divorce and married a Tahitian woman, Nga Frisbee Dawson, with whom he had a son and daughter, though that marriage also ended in 1962. In 1959, with a few small TV parts behind him, he went to Hollywood, having changed his name to Adam West. On television, he was employed in supporting roles as a strong, stolid type in horse operas such as Tenderfoot, Lawman, Colt 45, Bonanza, in which he played one of his few baddies, and Tales of Wells Fargo, eventually landing a recurring role as Detective Sergeant Steve Nelson in The Detectives, comparatively animated in contrast to a wooden Robert Taylor as his superior. Apart from further appearances in TV westerns, West had a few pallid roles on the big screen: a sympathetic cavalry officer in Geronimo, an astronaut in Robinson Crusoe on Mars, playing straight man to the Three Stooges in the unfunny and ungrammatical The Outlaws Is Coming, and starring as a tough Texas Ranger in the formulaic spaghetti western The Relentless Four. One curiosity was Alexander the Great, a projected historical TV series, with William Shatner in the title role and West as his right-hand man Cleander. In 1966, after 7 years as a jobbing actor, West was given the break he had dreamed of, though it turned out to be a curse in disguise. Chosen to play Batman, he created a character unlike any seen before or since. His dry humour, quick wit, and ability to always defeat the villain of the week set the show into a class of its own, and not seen since. The Batman movie was originally planned to serve as a theatrical pilot to the series, similar to Star Wars: The Clone Wars, but the studio rejected this idea, opting just to do a show instead. The movie eventually came to being, however, and made its way to theatres between the first 2 seasons. Adam West wasn't crazy about doing a feature, but was threatened with replacement when he asked for more money than initially offered. He ended up starring in it, with a consolation being the opportunity to show his face more as Bruce Wayne rather than spend most of the film behind the mask. Adam's heyday being decades in the past, he didn't have the tens of millions of dollars that other stars have these days. However, there is nothing small about $8 million that Celebrity Net Worth reports. Besides, his worth is so much more than monetary. The man is a superhero legend. When he was given the role of Batman, West would join the ranks of actors thought to be one-trick ponies: Shatner, Captain Kirk, Clayton Moore, the Lone Ranger, George Reeves, Superman, and Burt Ward, Robin. The late star complained that the hit show ruined his career, as Adam found himself helplessly typecast as a square when the hit show abruptly ended in 1968. "Typecasting is an enormous challenge," West remarked. "I think I had one of the biggest with Batman, because it was a costume character and part of American pop culture. People said I couldn't do certain things because Batman wouldn't. It was tough for a while." After the Batman series ended in 1968, West continued to have a fan base in spite of the low quality of the films in which he appeared. In The Girl Who Knew Too Much, instead of the Joker, West takes on the Red Menace as an ex-CIA man investigating communist influence of the Mafia, and as a German army captain with a shaky German accent, he faces Yugoslavian resistance fighter Rod Taylor in Hell River, and they were among his better movies. But the respected actor enjoyed looking back at his life as a swinging single, and boasted that his female fans never stopped asking him to sign intimate body parts. Dressed in a black and grey costume which he said drove the ladies crazy, he got a lot of female attention, and he made sure to make the most of it. West found he had women lining up to be with him. The 1960s were a time of sensual freedom and free love. West was a willing participant in this lifestyle. West reportedly slept with as many as 8 women a night, and even had quickies between scenes on the set of Batman. He wasn't the only one. just as many women were eager to sleep with Burt Ward, who played Batman's sidekick, Robin. The dynamic duo, according to the stories, did much of their extracurricular work while still wearing their iconic Batman and Robin costumes. West told a story about the time he and his good buddy Frank Gorshin, who played the Riddler on TV's Batman, went to what they thought was a party. "We walked in and it was an orgy," West said. "So I immediately went into the Batman character and Frank went into the Riddler character because we were getting the big giggles. It was so funny to us, what we walked into. And we were kicked out. We were expelled from the orgy." Burt Ward, Robin to Adam West's Batman, later explained that West introduced him to the wildest sexual debauchery that you can imagine. Ward was an innocent 20-year-old who had only been on a few dates when he landed the role as Batman's sidekick, the Boy Wonder. The much older and much more experienced West very quickly opened Ward's eyes to the fact that beautiful promiscuous women were lining up at their doors. Both Ward and West put their on-set dressing rooms to good use, engaging in quickies between takes. The actor said years after the show, "Because of the physical limitations of the costume, you got to have quickies." Although West slept with random groupies in the privacy of his dressing room, when he was in public he opted to have well-known actresses on his arm, including Jill St. John, Linda Crystal and Laura Ward. He was linked romantically with several actresses of the 60s and even dated famous sisters. Natalie Wood and her sis Lana Wood, who was famous as Bond girl Plenty O'Toole, were both involved with West. It turns out that when he wasn't performing as a saintly do-gooder fighting dastardly villains, just like in the comic books, a medium for children, especially back then, he was engaging in free love and reaping the benefits of being a Hollywood star in the swinging 60s. After Batman was cancelled, West had plenty of work, but he did not get much beyond supporting roles for many years. It was the resurgence of the Batman franchise when he returned to work again with the Caped Crusader. Even though Michael Keaton played the role of Batman, West still had a role in the films. Adam West also continued to work as a voice actor. Adam West gained recurring roles in animated series such as Mayor in Family Guy, Catman in Fairy Odd Parents, and the young version of Mermaid Man in SpongeBob SquarePants. Adam skyrocketed to fame in Hollywood, pursuing an extraordinary career in entertainment that has spanned half a century. His role as Batman in the classic television series and feature of the same name continues to be seen throughout the world more than 50 years after its debut. While Batman and his alter ego, Bruce Wayne, remains his signature role, Adam has a multitude of motion picture, theatre and TV credits to his name. On June 9, 2017, Adam West died at age 88 after a brief battle with leukemia in Los Angeles, California. West died peacefully surrounded by his family and is survived by his wife Marcelle, 6 children, 5 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. When West was asked how he thought his career would have developed without Batman, he replied, "I never even think about that. How many actors get the chance to create a signature role? Not many. Somebody that each generation loves. That's a wonderful thing." If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new here, and if you want to support my work, please visit my Patreon page. Now it is your turn. What do you think about the life and legacy of Adam West? Batman was the first dazzling weekday afternoon introduction to the concept of superheroes in general, and Batman in particular, thanks in part to West's portrayal.